What's the tea? It's Lynn, the party chef, and today we're making something very special. I'm going to tell you all about it. Today we're doing a remix of one of my favorite cakes to make of all times. And that cake we know as the hummingbird cake. What I'm doing today is I'm taking that recipe because it's not in actuality a pound cake. But today I'm taking that recipe and I am changing it into a pound cake. So let's get started. I have my ingredients already laid out. Again, this is called mise en place. I grew up on this cake with my cousin Dallas and cousin Kay, who were great friends of my parents. And they would bring this cake over from time to time. And I fell in love with the cake. And so when we had the cake, when they would bring the cake, it had pineapple and banana in it, which the flavors are just wonderful. And I don't remember them having nuts on the cake, but as I began to make the cake, I would usually put walnuts on top, really not inside the middle, but on top of the cake. And so it's a wonderful recipe. There's many variations of it. I have changed it and morphed it into my own, but today I'm taking that recipe and I'm making it into a pound cake. The traditional hummingbird cake is not really a pound cake. You often see it made in a bundt pan, or you see it in 3 layers with a frosting. When I baked this cake over the years, I've done it in a bundt pan. But today, I am converting that recipe into a pound cake. Let's get started. Okay, so again, we're making the hummingbird cake, which is traditionally a cake that has vegetable oil and there is no butter in the cake. However, today I'm converting that recipe into a pound cake recipe. So I have 2 sticks of unsalted butter here, and I have 4 ounces of vegetable oil. The traditional recipe uses 12 ounces, so I've replaced 8 ounces of that with 8 ounces of butter. All right, so let's get that into the bowl. So this has been sitting out for a few hours to get to room temperature, and we're just going to get it into our bowl. You want to get all that butter off of paper and into the bowl, okay? So I'm going to just bring up my bowl. Again, mise en place, very important. We have all of our ingredients laid out today. So I have 2 cups of sugar, granulated sugar, 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I have a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of nutmeg, which is what I add to the recipe. The original recipe does not have nutmeg. I have 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to pour my baking powder and salt. Put the baking powder in here. I like to mix my salt in with the butter, okay? And you'll see this done different ways. All right, so there we are. I also have 10 ounces of pineapple, which I have weighed. 10 ounces, okay? 4 ounces of the vegetable oil. So I'm going to begin mixing. Then I have 5 eggs, okay? Original recipe calls for 3 eggs. We're using 5 eggs because it's a pound cake. So I'm going to begin mixing this. And I'm going to actually add the oil in with the butter here. I'm going to add our sugar in. We don't just dump the sugar in, we're going to add it in slowly. Now I'm going to let that mix for about 6 minutes, and then we'll come back and show you what's next. It's been 6 minutes. Now, of course, I have scraped down in between that 6 minutes. Again, I've talked about that in other videos, that it's very important to scrape down your butter and sugar. You want to make sure that everything is mixed very well. So I'm just scraping down from the bottom, and I'm going to give this another minute for a total of 7 minutes. Okay, it's getting very fluffy, but I'm going to give it 1 more minute. So I'll come back and show you what's next. Okay, our minute is up. I'm going to turn this off, and I want to just show you how fluffy that is. You can see the fluffiness there, okay? So I'm going to scrape down 1 more time, and we're going to go on to adding our eggs. Now, when we're adding our eggs, again, the eggs should be room temperature. In addition, my oven is preheating right now. It's already preheated to 330 degrees, okay? Now, I have 5 eggs here. We're going to crack them separately into this other smaller bowl because we want to inspect it, make sure there's no blood before we pour it into this bowl. All right, so we're going to pour our first egg in, and we're going to let it go around until there's no more yellow. And I'm going to do that to each of the eggs. You want to do it individually. Inspect the egg, make sure it's not bloody. I normally scrape down after the 3rd egg. Okay, this is egg 3. Scrape down. You want to make sure this is mixed well. Okay? We'll pour. Make sure there's no shell in there also. You don't want anybody crunching on your cake. Okay, last egg goes in. All right, I'm gonna prep my bananas. Now these are ripe bananas, which are good for baking. And I usually use about 2 large bananas. And I'm just gonna put that in here that the vegetable oil is in. These are best for baking when they get like this. All right. Okay, I'm going to scrape down again here. Our 5 eggs are in. All right. Now, I'm just going to take this and just kind of chop them up a little bit. Okay. I don't want them mushy, but I do want little small chunks. And I'm also going to take an offset spatula and I'm going to mix in my baking soda and my spices here. Okay. So we're just going to mix that gently around in here. Also, we're using baking soda because usually you'll see recipes that have acid, like pineapple in it, will use, or that has fruit, will often use baking soda. Because there's a special science interaction that takes place. So most of the time you'll see baking soda. You may see baking soda and baking powder. All right, so that's all ready. Now our dry ingredients are ready. And we're going to start putting our flour in. A little bit at a time. And we're going to alternate that with pineapple, because this is considered liquid. It has juice. We didn't drain off the juice with this, okay? Start with flour, end with flour. I'm going to put these bananas in now also. This is our flour. And then we're going to scrape down. Okay, scraping down again is very important. Now also this cake is not going to be as dark as it normally is because it has the butter in it. Normally when this cake has all vegetable oil, it'll be a little bit darker even when it comes out of the oven. But because we have substituted some of that oil for butter today, it's going to be a little bit lighter in the actual body of the cake. Okay, so we're going to take this around not too much longer. We don't want to over mix the cake. That's what I normally do. Sometimes turn it up, and then that's it. So we're gonna get all of this off of the beater. And we're gonna get this into our oven. We're gonna bake this for about an hour. Put an hour timer on there, and then we'll check it and then do it in increments of 5. So this cake shouldn't take more than an hour and 15 minutes to cook. And keep in mind, everyone's oven is different, so yours may bake less or more time, okay? So just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna just give this a stir from the bottom and around to make sure it's fully mixed. And we're gonna get it into our bowls. You move this out of the way. Always keep your space clean. All right, so I have my bowl here. I'm using this pan today. It's the anniversary pan, and I'm going to use Baker's Joy. All right. Make sure it's on the red dot. It's not spraying right, but we're going to make it work, okay? So I'm just going to spray it in here. All around. Sometimes these things get broken, but it's okay. Just make it work, okay? So I'm going to spray it all around. And then I'm going to take the pastry brush. Take a pastry brush. Just a small one. And we're just going to just make sure it's everywhere, okay? So things happen, but you just go ahead and adjust, do what you need to do to make it work. So that's what we're doing here. Because I don't have another can, this is all I have. So I'm just going to spread this all around with my pastry brush. And that's it. All right, that's all good. We're going to put our batter in. Okay, so we're just going to put our batter in. Go all around. Let's make all of that. Okay. Let's clean up this little mess over here. And now I'm going to take this again, and I'm just going to go around to even it out. Just like that. I always like to taste. Very good. I'm going to tap. Tap, tap, tap. Here we are. Into the oven for 1 hour to start. Okay, we'll come back and show you the finished results. This is our finished cake. We're going to let it sit on the counter, and we're going to let it cool for 10 minutes. Now I'm using an offset spatula just to go around to make sure that we get a clean release from the pan. Okay, our cake has come out of the oven. It baked for 1 hour exactly, and it was done. So we're going to, this has been in the pan for about 10 minutes, and we're going to flip it over so that it can finish cooling. Shake that up a little bit. And there we are. So we'll let that finish cooling. I don't normally put a glaze on this cake. I just do it with powdered sugar. It's sweet enough to me. And so there we have it. So as you can see, this is a little bit higher. This is the pound cake, which is a little bit higher than when I do the hummingbird bun, because we have added 2 sticks of butter instead to replace some of the oil. So we've been able to get that larger volume in the cake, as you can see here. So here's our finished hummingbird pound cake. I believe a pound cake should have at least powdered sugar on it for it to be finished. Give the recipe a try and let us know what you think. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.